The Fresno County Transportation Coalition is sharing plans to improve roadways while also keeping community safety in mind. How a new measure on the ballot aimed at replacing Measure C could help their efforts to improve streets, and if passed, how funds will be allocated.
People living in Minnesota are on edge this morning following a second shooting involving a federal officer a week after the first one.
We have ICE agents throughout our city and throughout our state who, along with Border Control, are creating chaos. This is not the path that we should be on right now in America.
What message leaders in the state have for protesters as tensions continue to flare, and what the Department of Homeland Security is saying about the recent shooting.
A federal court is now giving California Democrats the go-ahead following Proposition 50 to move forward, or allowing it rather. What action state GOP leaders are expected to take to counteract the ruling, and why their efforts to overturn the redistricting legislation is unlikely to succeed.
And yet another foggy morning to start off your day. Looking live at the Fresno airport right now, and you can see that fog really settling in there. Some parts of the valley already zero visibility. Coming up, we'll break down details of the dense fog advisory and also talk about some foggy day schedules already.
You're watching Fox 26, and now, great day.
Good morning. We begin this hour with a live look at Shasta Dam in Northern California. Things are looking a lot clearer there at the dam than they are here around the city of Fresno, where, as Justin mentioned, we are getting ready to see that fog, mainly probably in some areas, probably already kicking in a lot more. Good Thursday morning. I'm Carl Cook.
And I'm Christina Rodriguez. Liz Gonzalez is on assignment.
And I'm Justin Willis. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, we are already seeing some really dense fog downtown. It might have been 50 feet visibility.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it was pretty thick this morning as I was driving in southeast Fresno. It's already there.
Yeah, it's pretty wild out there. It's going to be a lot like yesterday. In fact, we'll have sunny skies in the afternoon. So let's get the day planner going and see how it's shaping up. At the moment, it is still very chilly out there. 42 degrees at the moment. It says the skies are clear, but that's not the case. We've got some fog going out there. Winds are calm, though. The dew point's at 40. And here's the rest of the day. Check it out. 47 there at 10 a.m. Fog should start lifting by that time at noon, 55, and at 5, 59 degrees. We'll venture into the mid-60s about the middle of the afternoon, though, and the winds will be calm. All right, coming up next, we're going to go over the details of this dense fog advisory and show you where this fog is most dense at this hour.
The Fresno County Transportation Coalition is now unveiling plans to improve local roads while protecting the county's transportation future for the next generation. The coalition consists of citizens and leaders from across the county that rallied together to bring much needed change to our roadways. They've held forums, answered surveys, shared input on all communities throughout the county with the shared goal of investing in and protecting our transportation future. Now they're sharing their vision with the community.
We are moving forward together with a plan to use local funding to fix what matters most. Fixing our local roads, more and better transit, good jobs, making sure we're creating good jobs for future generations, and keeping our kids safe. And we're doing this without raising taxes.
Now, since 1986, when voters first approved Measure C, funding has been set aside for roads and public transportation. But lesson learned, as Mayor Jerry Dyer said, more money was needed for local streets as our county grew, and also rural communities were often forgotten.
And nothing much was done to address them. It is sad when you see kids walking without, sidewalks to school, and you have big semis, 80,000-pound trucks and cars going 55 miles per hour, like in the community of Cantua. Very unsafe.
So let's give you a breakdown for a new transportation measure for the November ballot, and clearly states where that money will be allocated. 65% of the initiative, nearly $5 billion, will go to fix local streets, filling potholes and that kind of stuff. That's nearly double the allocation from the current Measure C. Moving to number 2, 25%, nearly $2 billion, will go towards public transportation. That's about the same that's currently allocated at this time. Moving to number 3, which is 5% or $370 million, that will be allocated for regional connectivity, improving travel between communities and critical connections east to west, north to south. Moving to number 4, 4% or $296 million will go toward transportation innovation. Thinking about what we'll need in the years to come as our county continues to grow and the patterns change. And let's go to number 5, the final one there, 1%, $74 million. That will go to administrative and oversight compliance, making sure that all communities' needs are met and connected together in success. And that leads to our accountability question. With this measure headed to the November ballot, what's going to happen to Measure C? We know the Council of Governments voted last week to discontinue activity on Measure C efforts. So we specifically asked this question. Why is the Fresno Council of Governments no longer pushing their own Measure C? Well, here's the answer that we received. Quote, this action was in response to the Fresno County Board of Supervisors declining to place the expenditure plan on its agenda for approval in January, which was the Council of Government Board's specific direction. When it approved the plan in December, the vote effectively ends the government-led effort to renew Measure C. Going forward, any county-wide transportation initiative that would appear on the November 2026 ballot would have to come from a third party.
All right, time is 5:05. Here's a live look at Highway 41 at Tulare Avenue there in downtown Fresno. You can see that fog is really starting to settle in there. Yeah, not a whole lot of traffic at this hour, but that fog is coming in strong right now. In fact, we've already got one foggy day schedule to tell you about here, and it's for the South Valley where the fog is going to be most dense for you again. And Schedule C for Corcoran Unified School District there. So just be alert and be ready for that. Dense fog advisory is in effect until 11 o'clock, but Corcoran Unified on Schedule C already this morning. And you can submit your foggy day schedules to us and let everybody know by going to KMPH.com. Hit the drop-down menu, go to weather, and then click on school closings, and there is how you submit your information, your foggy day schedules there. But again, Corcoran Unified, Schedule C today. And check out where the fog is most dense. Down about where Corcoran is, there is a zero visibility, which basically means 0 to about 50 feet, really. And then everybody else, look at it starting to pick up there. Madera's at a quarter mile, Merced at a quarter mile visibility, Reedley at a half mile, Visalia, 0 visibility there. Again, dense fog advisory is going to be in effect. And this time, it stretches all the way up well into Northern California. Look at this. Down starting in Kern County, just south of Bakersfield, going well past Merced, and then up past Sacramento. Kind of a Thule fog situation going on once again. It's going to be colder on the valley floor and foggy, and then warmer up in the mountains, in some places, the mountains that is. Not anything like we saw back in December, though. But the dense fog advisory is in effect until 11 o'clock this morning. We've already had one fog-related crash out there this morning there towards the South Valley where it is most dense. So please drive safely out there. We don't need any more accidents out there today or ever, really. But slow down, low beams, give yourself plenty of time to get where you are going. Just please take it easy out there. And here's why this is all that's happening. We still have some high pressure that's kind of putting a cap on some of that fog for us in the overnight hours there. But it's also then heating up our valley floor in the afternoons here. So our temperatures are actually going to be above normal after we're done with the fog there. A little bit of troughing on either side is going to make sure it stays that way here for the next couple of days. And here are our temperatures. So yesterday we got to 64, and that's what we're forecasting for today and tomorrow. We had some clear skies in the afternoon. It was a little hazy there, right? It's likely going to be that way into the early afternoon hours, but we should have plenty of sunshine after that. 64 tomorrow and 61 on Saturday, 30s and 40s overnight. And yep, we are expecting fog each morning the rest of the week. All right, up next, we're going to take a look at the highs and lows across the rest of the San Joaquin Valley for your Thursday.
A family favorite restaurant in Fresno is closing. Benediction, a popular breakfast spot, announced on Facebook last week that they're shutting down. This business started as a food truck, evolved into a brick and mortar restaurant, and then into a second location. But as soon as that second location opened, the first one was forced to close, and that's what changed everything.
The main thing is closing the original restaurant a year into this one being open. I left an $800,000 hole in my budget, and that's a hard thing to overcome. You know, having people come out, tell us how much they're going to miss us, how great they thought we were. Nice.
Now the restaurant's final day is January 19th, or this upcoming Monday. Throughout the day, the owner will be selling off the mugs you see from the famous wall inside, and he invites everybody to come say one final goodbye. And in just a few months, Mission Bell Winery in Madera will shut down operations, a move that some say will be a massive hit to the city's economy. The winery has been in Madera for over 100 years, but since 2020, Constellation Brands that owns Mission Bell sold wine and spirit brands to Gallo. That agreement is now over. In an email sent to us by an employee, you could see the contract with Gallo will end March 31st, which would result in operations related to that work winding down, impacting roles at the site.
Devastating. Yeah, you know, anytime you lose a big company like that, it hurts the economy in Madera. It's going to be sad that they have to shut down and look for another job.
Now, in a statement, Constellation says, quote, "We are taking necessary steps to optimize our operations to support our future production needs at this facility. This will unfortunately impact a number of roles within our Mission Bell operations." Now, I reached out to the union and the Madera Economic Development Commission, but have not yet received a response. Unrest continues surging in the state of Minnesota after a second shooting involving an ICE agent. What the Department of Homeland Security says led to the latest shooting and why Governor Tim Walz is urging protesters to remain peaceful. The time now, 5:10.
Hi, I'm Monty Torres with Fox 26 News on YouTube. Thank you for checking out our YouTube channel, where we have loads of great content for you to choose from. And while you're here, why not click on the subscribe button right here? That way you can stay in touch with all the latest breaking news, everything news related within the Central Valley. And thank you for watching.